You know, Sonic really has an interesting cast of characters. Many people can tell you about how Shadow is one of the coolest in the franchise, or how cool Metal Sonic used to be. But today I want to focus on one character. A character that has been completely forgotten about, because he rarely shows up. You may be wondering, well, who is this forgotten character? The character I want to focus some appreciation towards is E102 Gamma. Now you may be wondering, what makes this dude so special? He's just a robot. I'll explain his entire history and a few other things. So why not start with his first appearance? That's right, his first ever appearance is in Sonic's first major 3D platformer in 1999. For those who have never played Sonic Adventure before, allow me to elaborate. You first meet him in a cutscene when Robotnik, he never went by Eggman at the time, calls him to eliminate Sonic and his friends, which leads to a pretty lackluster boss fight. There's no strategy to beat him, you just kinda hit him 3 times and he's down. It then leads to a cutscene where Sonic is about to finish him off, but Amy steps out of the way and tells him that the robot actually rescued her from being captured. Something you actually see in Amy's story. Sonic then listens to Amy's pleas and evacuates the now crashing egg carrier. After the cutscene is over, you then unlock Gamma as a playable character. Picking Gamma in the character select menu, you are greeted by a cutscene of Gamma waking up. When he does this, he is greeted by the face of Dr. Robotnik, Gamma's creator. Robotnik tells him that he is the latest in his most recent line of badniks, the 100 series. He then instructs Gamma to go into the firing range. Robotnik tells you that E101 is also there, but you never see him. The firing range is a section of the level that was in Sonic's final level in his story. This level introduces you to how Gamma controls. Essentially, far better than you've ever controlled in the mech stages of SA2. One main thing that separates Gamma from the rest of SA1's cast is how its timer works. You start with 3 minutes and it starts ticking down. The only way to bring it up again is to destroy or combo whatever enemies you shoot. This timer is not in the hub worlds, thankfully. When you shoot enemies, it only gives you a few more seconds of your time, making it a little stressful on your final level of his story, or when you're getting your 3rd emblem in his levels. But we'll get to that. After you complete the level by getting to the end and destroying the Sonic doll, you're greeted with a cutscene where you meet your older brother, E101 Beta. Robotnik asks you both to fight for a spot on Robotnik's ship, the egg carrier. After that, you're greeted with another really easy boss fight. You beat Beta and Robotnik gives you a spot in the ship. Beta protests that he should be on the ship without any other words being spoken. Robotnik then lets him onto the ship with special permission, remarking that he could always use a spare set of parts. That right there shows that Eggman thinks of his creations. He sees them as nothing more than machines that can be replaced. He doesn't see any value in Gamma at all. He sees them as a machine with no will of its own. After a cutscene where the egg carrier takes off, you're greeted by another cutscene where they're inside the egg carrier. Robotnik is giving Gamma, along with E103 Delta, E105 Zeta, and E104 Epsilon, an assignment. The assignment is that you have to find a frog. This frog has Chaos's missing tail, something Robotnik needs to fully evolve Chaos, a monster Robotnik is using to destroy Space and Square and build Eggman Land. This is the point where you could get lost because the game gives you no direction at all. But if you know where to go, you head for Emerald Coast. After beating the very short level, you get to the frog and bring it back to the egg carrier. Then you are greeted with a cutscene where every robot except for Gamma is squabbling amongst each other over who got the right frog. Then Robotnik comes to inspect the frogs. It turns out you got the correct one. When Robotnik insults them and teleports them off the ship, before one of them could be fully teleported away, they turn to Gamma. This moment hints at things to come. When Robotnik tells Gamma to interrogate the prisoner, he accidentally heads into the wrong door. If you open to the one on the left, however, you are greeted by a cutscene where Gamma stumbles upon Delta, modified into his Mark II form. Gamma then leaves, remarking that's the wrong room. You then enter the one on the right, where you see Amy in a cell along with a little blue bird. Gamma then demands Amy hand over the bird. Amy says no. Gamma asks why. Amy then asks why you want the bird. Gamma doesn't know the answer. Amy then says that she feels sorry for you. You were created to obey his orders without any feelings. The bird then flies in front of Gamma, as if they are not speaking to him, but the animal inside of him. Gamma then pushes the button that opens the door to Amy's cell, simply telling him that he needs to get out of here and that it's not safe. After this, Robotnik tells Gamma that they need to get ready, because he has a special assignment. You then retrieve the hover thing, I can't remember its name, then you go in front of the deck where the events of Sonic's story play out. Just a cutscene of you showing up and your fight with Sonic. And then, Amy's stopping you from killing Sonic. You then leave the crashing egg carrier when Amy tells you they will meet again. Gamma then reflects his experiences, choosing not to follow Robotnik anymore. He then proceeds to go on his own mission. That mission is to save the rest of the E100 series. You will go in levels like Red Mountain, Windy Valley, and Hot Shelter. The first level you have to go to is Windy Valley, where you will face E103 Delta. After completing that level, you head to Red Mountain, where you will face E104 Epsilon next. The last level you will visit is Hot Shelter, where you will face E105 Zeta. After this, Gamma walks out, scanning for who is his next target. He then looks at his hand and realizes he would have to kill himself to complete his mission. There's never really been mentions of suicide since, or even before the series. Gamma's contemplating is then interrupted by the appearance of E105 Beta. Gamma notices him and gives chase. They meet in this area where you fight Chaos 6 in Sonic and Knuckles stories. This is where you will have your final fight with E101 Beta. This fight is very different from the other ones you've faced so far because there's a little bit of strategy to it. Essentially, he has a rainbow shield in his front, so you'll have to hit him in the back. While this is happening, he shoots missiles at you and will fly up and shoot this kind of energy thing with both of his hands. After hitting him in the back enough times, he goes down. A cutscene plays where Beta fakes his vulnerability enough where Gamma would lower his guard. After Gamma lowers his guard, Beta lets off one last thing from both of his hands, fatal enough to injure Gamma. Beta's victory did not last long as Gamma used the last of his strength to fire one shot at Beta, which killed him. Gamma then succumbs to his injuries, letting the white bird out that was in him, where it is then reunites with his family and the story ends. Despite the fact he only had one major appearance, he has shown up in other ways too. His design was used as a regular badnik in the levels Pyramid Cave and Death Chamber. This one is very different for the fact he has two gun arms, when Gamma only had one in his first appearance. He also showed up in Sonic Battle, but believe me though, this is not the Gamma we know. Not only does he act differently than what we are used to, being very obsessed when he fights, he has some very different abilities, and has no gun arm. He also showed up in Sonic Shuffle, a game that competes with Sonic Adventure for the worst mouth animations I've seen in my life. He also showed up in Sonic X during the Sonic Adventure arc in Season 2. I will stand by the fact he has the worst English voice acting. He also shows up in the Archie comics where he actually lives for a little longer. Shadow was sent on a mission to retrieve him. Apparently he has been attacking many of Eggman's bases. While Shadow is trying to find him, Robotnik sends out E123 Omega, the final E100 series robot. Shadow finally finds Gamma and convinces him to join Gun. While Gamma is being transported by Shadow, E123 Omega finds them and attacks Shadow. Shadow starts fighting them after telling Gamma to run. Shadow's fight with Omega was short-lived, as Omega would launch him far away. Gamma's fight with him begins. Gamma uses surprise to get him, except it wasn't enough. Gamma realizes this and lets Omega kill him. Moments before though, he uploads his free will to Omega. Shadow shows up far too late. Omega wonders what he's supposed to do now that he's free will. Shadow brings him back to Gun, where he is then now a member. Other than that, Gamma would not have another appearance in a decade until Sega Hardlight randomly showed that Gamma was going to show up in Sonic Force Speedbound in an event called in July. Might as well put this section here for fun, because there's actually a little bit. Most of it is extremely rare and very expensive. Gamma showed up in Wave 2 of the restored Sonic Adventure toy line, where he, along with the other Wave 2 mates, will cost a pretty penny. Same with his first plush, where it was a Japanese UFO catcher line for Sonic Adventure. He's actually the rarest one you can find for that Sonic Adventure plush set. The problem with that plush is that it's coated in a vinyl material that flakes over time, something they fixed with the new plush made by Great Eastern. It's actually your best bet and is by far the cheapest. Gamma never really had much of an impact. He's recognized as the only character Sega refuses to bring back, and he's pretty obscure. He has been fully replaced by Omega anyhow, so it kinda makes sense. Maybe it's best he stays dead. I don't think I would appreciate him as much if he kept coming back in every Sonic game the same way Shadow has. His story is something I can truly appreciate for its underlying themes, such as the importance of self-sacrifice. I'd say if they want to bring him back, just put him in spin-off games, honestly.